Welcome back, guys. So today I'm going to be doing a cottage pie. So in this pan I've got 500 grams of lean steak mince. There's absolutely no fat in this, so there's nothing to drain. I'm just cooking the rest of this off. This is one of those recipes where you can literally add what you like, so long as you've got the base there. And for an authentic cottage pie, you've got to have the beef mince. And I've seen so many of these cottage pies, like cottage pies, all over the internet on YouTube, and they're dry as hell. There's no gravy. Where's the gravy, guys? It's supposed to have a gravy. So there's gravy in the sauce before you put the mashed potatoes on top, and then there's gravy left over to pour on top of the mashed potatoes so they're not dry at the end. Honestly, I don't get all these recipes and how people enjoy eating dry mashed potato. I don't get it. Well, each to their own, I suppose. So I've just chucked in one chopped onion. Make sure this finishes off cooking, because then what we're going to do once it's finished cooking is add some flour and stock. But because I'm making this at 11 in the morning, I'm going to pop it into the slow cooker, because it's actually for tea tonight. It just gets it done and out the way. Not feeling too great, so I just want it done, and then I know my family's got a decent meal for today. So yeah, we'll get this done. The meat's almost cooked now. So I'm going to salt and pepper it. I'd say about half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper. You might think half a teaspoon of salt is a lot, but wait until you see the rest of the recipe, because this 500 grams of lean steak mince is going to feed probably 6 people, maybe a bit more, when I add everything else in. So that's now added. Then Worcestershire sauce. Gotta love a bit of Worcestershire sauce. So this is to taste, so I will probably, and stop there, maybe 5 shakes. Again, and that's to your own taste. Excuse me, I'm just grabbing my herbs. So let this continue to cook. Hang on, I've got a fish tank right behind the camera. Let me just... There we go. Oh dear. So, what we're going to do is put in a half teaspoon of dried thyme. If you use fresh thyme, use 1 teaspoon chopped. That's my half teaspoon of thyme. Parsley. If you're using fresh, you want 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped parsley. I'm using half a teaspoon of dried. You can use fresh garlic in this, that's absolutely fine. I'll probably stick a couple of cloves in. I'm just being lazy and I've pulled out the dried garlic, and I'm going to put a teaspoon of that in. Just like that. That good mix, let that continue to cook. As you can see, there literally is no fat in this. Always worth paying that little bit more and get the lean. Cook a little bit. Now I'm going to stick in half a teaspoon of basil, dried basil, 1 tablespoon if you're using fresh. But honestly, if you're going to cook the herbs and not garnish with them, you may as well use dried, because it don't do anything for it. And then we're going to need tomato puree, and that's 1 tablespoon of tomato puree gone in. Don't worry, there is going to be vegetables added to this, just not at this stage. So once I've done this and got the base started, I'll pop it into the slow cooker, and then I will show you everything else that I'm adding. So now what we're going to add in is 2 tablespoons a little bit extra going over, that's why I'm not filling it, of plain flour, and this is your thickening agent. And once you've mixed that in, you're going to put in 400 mils of beef stock. That can be in the UK it can be the OXO stock cubes, whatever stock cubes you've got, it doesn't matter. I think in the US they use the cartons, or they're better than bouillon. See, and that flour's just took up everything, every little bit of juice there was. You must cook the flour out. There'll be a mistake if you don't, because you'll get that raw flour taste. Normally I do cook the whole thing on here, but like I say, I'm having trouble with my legs today, so I don't mind admitting that. I'm going to get it done and put it in a slow cooker. My lovely husband will peel the potatoes for the mash on top, but I will bring you back for that part when we get to the mashing and what we'll do to the top of it. So that's had long enough. What we're going to do now is pour in the beef stock. And I can see some there hasn't quite dissolved, so make sure you get all of that. Because I knew I was putting this in the slow cooker, I've pre-rinsed 3 times some red lentils, 1 cup. See, that's already thickening up into a gravy. We will be adding more liquid later. Yes, like I said, I've already washed 3 times and let soak a cup of red lentils. And it'll cut your cooking time down, but it don't really matter so much because it's going in the slow cooker. I thought I was going to cook it all on the hob, you see. So the longer you let lentils soak, if you're going to cook them on the hob in something like this, the better. It'll cut your cooking time down in half. So I'm just going to let this come to a little boil and then turn it off. And then I'll take you to the other side of the kitchen where I'll show you everything else that'll be added. And this will be the base that goes on the bottom of your dish for your cottage pie. And this one is going to be topped, half of it's going to be topped with leek because the kids won't. They're just, maybe 3/4 actually with leek because one of them won't even eat the cottage pie with the leeks, chopped leeks and cheese, and the other little bit will be just cheese. I mean, if you like leeks or you don't like leeks, add them, don't add them, it's up to you. And then it'll be baked in the oven. At the time it goes into the oven, everything will be fully cooked. It just needs browning. So, that's done. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to take you to the other side of the kitchen. Right guys, so we're back. Let me just move things. I'm working in a small space here. So, here's my slow cooker with the liner, of course. And all I'm going to do is pour in that mixture that we just cooked. There we go. Oh, just not the camera, guys. Oh, there we go, look. Now it's all gone to pot. So, I've got 3 carrots. These are washed and scrubbed. I'm not going to peel them. I'm not sure if most people know that all the goodness in carrots, well, not all of it, but a lot of it lies in the skin. As long as you clean them, I don't see the issue with not peeling them. So they're going to go straight in. No pre-cooking, obviously, because it's going to be in here for about 5 hours. That's why I'm cutting them a little bit thicker. Sorry guys, this slow cooker takes up a lot of room on this side, okay, and I ain't got a very big kitchen, so that's all I'm doing, is just chopping up the carrots to go in. Next, these are the washed lentils. They can go in. Never found a way of getting them all out. Anyone knows how to get all of them out once they've been rinsed and they're wet, let me know. Leave a comment down below. So that's the carrots added, the lentils. Everyone knows lentils, superfood, great for you. My kids don't even realise they're in there. And then, which you don't often find actually in a cottage pie, beans. You would not be surprised. You don't notice that these are in there, but you notice how creamy it makes it. Just one can. Again, beans are good for you. So far, this is pretty healthy. When I cooked the meat, I didn't have no fat to it whatsoever, no oil, no butter. Although I never use butter for cooking really, except for steak. Next I've got chestnut mushrooms. These people who... Where's my tea towel gone? I don't understand people washing mushrooms. You're not supposed to wash them. You're just supposed to rub them. Because they're like sponges. They soak up all that water. So just use a damp cloth. Look at the dirt. So you can't say this method doesn't work in taking off the dirt. It does. There's absolutely no need to be washing mushrooms at all. I don't want extra water added to this. These are chestnut mushrooms. Can't remember whether I said that or not. And here there is 250 grams. Normally, if there was more than the 3 of us today that are going to eat it, I would use 500 grams. It just bulks it out. I do have to chop these. I prefer to pull them apart and leave them in chunks. But one of the kids is eating them, so I've got to hide them. So I've got to chop them up very small. There you go. Wiping them works. Damp cloth, just give them a wipe. Just chop them up. However you want to chop them up. You don't chop them up the way I'm doing it. Actually, in fact, I don't even think I'm going to do it that way. I'm just going to slice them. If they find them, they can pick them out. Truth be told, they're old enough that they shouldn't be complaining about eating vegetables now anyway. But they do. But have you ever noticed, any mothers out there notice, that kids when they're at home, they won't eat this, they won't eat that. But if they go to the friend's house for tea and the mum says, oh yeah, they had this, they had that. And you're like, thinking to yourself, what the heck? What do you mean they ate vegetables? What do you mean they ate mushrooms? Because they don't eat it at home. Kids for you, innit? They're either too scared to say something to the other parent, or they actually don't mind them. So there we go, that's that. So now all I'm going to do, have I knocked it again? Yeah, haven't I? Right, let me lift it a bit. I'll tell you something, anyone knows where I can get a really good tripod? I would love to know, because this one's rubbish. Right, I'm just going to add now another 100 mils just of water. Just so it doesn't catch. Because obviously these lentils are going to swell a little bit more and absorb some. But the mushrooms will release water, and so will the carrots. So there is vegetables in there. There's lentils as well, which is a superfood. We are going to add leeks at the end. So there is vegetables in this before anybody says that there ain't no vegetables. And it'll be served with vegetables as well. So I'm going to put this on to cook. Once it's cooked and we get to the stage where we're going to create the cottage pie, I'll show you that. Thanks guys. Right guys, I'm back. So I finished all the potatoes. I've mashed them up. All I did was add some milk and butter, salt and pepper. I've sautéed 2 leeks, so I washed those after I sliced them, and I've grated up what feels like an armful of cheese. So what I'm going to do is put what I need into these. So this bigger one will be for our tea today. Speaking of which, I need to separate some for my eldest because she's fussy and she won't eat food that she considers mixed. So mashed potato on top of something. What can I say? Kids, they're weird. Anyway, enough of that. So you should still have some gravy in here when you put it in. So what we're going to do is find a better stew for a start. That's what I'm after. So, I want some of the gravy in here. As you can see, it's not dry, but I don't want all of it in there. So you can see in the pot that there's quite a lot of actual gravy. This one, I'm not going to top with potatoes. I'm going to let it cool down, cling wrap it and put it in the freezer, so that once the kids are back at school, yay, once they're back at school, me and my husband, because they have a big meal at school, they'll have a small meal when they get home. So me and my husband will have something hot such as that at lunchtime, and then everybody just has a sandwich or something easy for tea. So yeah, I try to keep in mind, do a bit extra. I mean, you saw me cook it, it was 500 grams of lean steak mince, and it's done. Let me move that. All of that. And it's not a thin layer. It's a good layer in there. Same for this one. So that's that. Then all I would do is this bowl. I would take a jug and pour the gravy into it. This is the gravy I was mentioning earlier that I want for after this is cooked. So I've got my gravy left over, that's me happy. I'm going to top this one with potatoes. That one's going to get wrapped with cling film. So potatoes. So now we get on potatoes. Make a meal out of stuff, don't I? Potatoes, I think, should not be like whipped cream. They're going to go into the oven, and all they're going to do with that heat is not set up. When you scoop it out, you got slop. This isn't hard, this is quite soft. And this is only for 3 of us, that's why I'm not piling it up. I don't like waste, so if you've got money for waste, you've got too much money. Then all you do flatten it down. Sorry, you can hear the kids outside. So, flatten that down. So, this is the leeks that are sautéed with 1 teaspoon of butter. They're not like fried onions, they're just soft. So I'm going to put them over most of it. Again, oh, that's my stomach rumbling. I've got to remember the youngest child, although she eats this and she's really good, she ain't going to touch these leeks. So I'll put them all over this side. Just rinse my hands. And bring over the cheese. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Fat arms and all that. Anyway, moving on. So all we're going to do now is pop the cheese over it. Little lump for Amy. What's a cottage pie without cheese? Boring. I did used to put cheese inside the mashed potato, but to be honest, no need. It's cheesy enough, and besides, I'm fat enough as well. I don't need that extra cheese. So, I'm sure that'll be gone tomorrow. Spare. So there you have your cheese and leek topped cottage pie. Don't forget, with the extra gravy that I keep banging on about. So I'm going to cook this now. Not cook it because it's already cooked, but heat it. Gas 4. Make sure you put a tray under it just in case the gravy bubbles up and over. Unless you fancy cleaning your oven out. And all you're doing really is heating it up so it's piping hot. So gas mark 4, I would say 20 to 30 minutes. Then just stick a fork or whatever you want to use in the middle. Make sure it's piping hot and you're good to go. And I'll show you what it looks like plated up later. Bye. Right guys, we're back. It's out of the oven. So this is the cheese and leek topped cottage pie. I'm just going to take a piece out so you can see. Oh. That's it. And all we do with that is just top it with the extra gravy so it's not dry. This is my daughter's plate, so there's nothing else going on to here. But that's the cottage pie anyway, when it comes out all cooked. Comment, like, subscribe if you want to. Just have a chat in the comments down below and let me know if you try it for yourself. Thanks, bye.